Come on in, come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Happy Thursday. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. And let me know where you're watching from. Hey, Lovey. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Today we're going to be talking quite a bit of business today. And this is mainly going to be for those who, and of course, the things I teach in business you can take with you in life and in relationships and all that great stuff. But today's live is actually called You Don't Lack Strategy, You Lack Belief That Matches Your Power. And I'm noticing that something is really huge that's happening right now in society. How can I say this? There are a lot of things being said and put out there and all that stuff. So it's very understandable why a person may struggle with what they believe, from things that you've been told about your creator to high loving, to things that you've been told about the way you have to make money and you have to work. The way you've been told, you have to sacrifice yourself for love. All of these things, a lot of women, high loving, a lot of women are realizing are fake. It's been a lot of fake programming that's been put out there. And so a lot of women are waking up to that. And to that, I say congratulations and welcome. Because a lot of women are waking up from this good girl programming that was never, ever real, never, ever biblical, never, ever any of those things. And so women are waking up from that space and understanding that those things are not real, and they're coming into the full understanding of themselves. And to, like I said, to that again, I say congratulations. But even when you come into that space, and I say but because there are some things that have to happen once you come into a space of like, okay, I am, getting rid of this good girl image or getting rid of this mindset because it hasn't really positioned me forward. It hasn't done anything for me. Thank you, Lovey. But one of the things that's going to be extremely important is your mindset and your belief. Bigger than your mindset is your belief. For those of you, I want to kind of put an analogy together real quick when it comes down to your mind. Hi, love. Your mind that's always running is like a vehicle, okay? Your beliefs is the oil, okay, of that vehicle. Your thoughts is the gas you put into that vehicle, okay? I'm going to say that one more time. Your mind, and I want you to think about your mind. Let's think about it for those of you who can't sleep, who've been staying up because you can't really sleep. You sleep not right, okay? So if we put it in that mindset and we think about it, your mind is consistently going, is driving. The oil in your vehicle is going to be your beliefs, okay? So how good that car runs depends on the quality of the oil, okay, in that vehicle. Your thoughts is the gas. So if you put bad gas into that vehicle, it's going to run bad, okay? It's not going to run as long, okay? If you have bad oil in that vehicle, then 9 times out of 10, eventually it's going to cause a bigger issue. So I want you to think about that. And I always say that belief impacts biology and biology influences the way that you behave. Hi, Lovey. Shalom. And I need us to really drill that into our mindset, especially going into 2026, because you are being told a lot of stuff and you're being given a lot of information. It's a lot that they're trying to fuel you with, okay? And remember, I say your thoughts are fuel. So it's a lot of things that they are trying to fuel you with. And so you have to take captive of your thoughts, meaning that you are going to have to make a decision, okay? Thank you, my loves, for these gifts and these likes and these comments. You're going to have to make a decision about whether or not you want to keep taking the bad fuel of society, or if you're ready to come up to premium. You're ready to pay $89. You ready to get 89 gas, or you ready to get 93 gas? I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But are you ready to start putting quality in your vehicle? Because if you don't, you're going to continue to have the struggles, the issues that you are having. And I'm telling you, life is going to continue to be going on. But this whole scenario of what is happening in the world, they're not going to get off your neck. Then that's not what's going to happen. So you have to make a decision to take your thoughts captive, to put your mind on things that are above, to really shift and focus. Because even in the midst of recessions, depressions, whatever you want to call them, like I tell you, there are three groups of people in each one of those times. Okay, there are the receivers. Those are the ones who are in position to receive, because in every recession there are millionaires that come out of that if they know how to capitalize on proper opportunities. Okay, so there are the receivers. There are the deceivers. That it's a small percentage of deceivers, because the deceivers are the ones with a lot of resources and a lot of different things. So they use a lot of different things to be able to deceive the masses. So follow me now. With any time that there is economic crisis, economic conflict, issues around money, there's always money. Let me say that. There's always money. Okay? There's always money. And when there appears to not, let me tell you something. You know how I know there's always money? And I'm not even going to, I want you to look at what's happening in Sudan. I want you to see what's happening in these places. You understand? If there is no money, why are there so many thieves? If there are no resources, then why are there so many thieves? WAR is money. It's always been money. It's always been rooted in stealing too, in theft. So when they're telling you there is no money, they're hoping that you listen to that and you believe that there's no money for you. So therefore you don't position yourself to receive any money. But there is money, because we are living amongst thieves. You understand? And there is no honor amongst thieves. So to expect a thief to care about you, the corporate system is a thief. It steals your life force. Everybody getting on here talking about how men, they drain the life out of me. That corporate system that's set up like that, it's a thief. It steals your time, your energy, your attention, and it pays you very cheap money, all while telling you how much you need to work harder and not telling you that you are the actual money. See, this type of thing right here, because if all of y'all decided not to walk into their corporation, guess what? The corporation makes no money. They need you. That's why they were hiring in the first place, because they needed you. So while a lot of women are being very concerned about men being, draining their life forces and different things like that, I need you to understand that if you're allowing yourself to be drained in a relationship, it's time for you to assess in all aspects of your life where you're allowing yourself to be drained. And when you can pay attention and see things for what they are, that will change your perception. Why is this important? It'll change your perception about how you see yourself and how you value yourself. And when you begin to value yourself a certain kind of way, guess what happens? That perception elevates. That means your perspective about yourself changes, which is your attitude about yourself. That means the patterns with yourself change, which means that you start to treat yourself based on the way you see yourself and the way you think about yourself. And guess what that does? Improves the relationship that you have with yourself, because your relationship with yourself consists of the following: your perception, your perspective, and your patterns. And your relationship with yourself sets the tone for the relationship you have with anything else outside of yourself, starting with men, because a lot of y'all be worried about that. But let's get before that. Your meals, how you eat. Yeah. See, when you value yourself, you eat different. I used to be 100 pounds heavier. That's why I can tell you this. You understand? So when you see yourself different, you treat yourself different. You fuel yourself different. So you eat different. The way you spend your money is different. The type of man that you choose is different. Why? Because your palate changed. But the reason why a lot of women can't experience the palate change that they crave and desire so much is because they are missing the key element, which is they have not reprogrammed their beliefs. Like I said in the beginning of this live, belief is the oil in your vehicle. Your thoughts are the gas. Check the quality of the gas that you put in your vehicle, and you better make sure you got that good oil to keep your vehicle running smooth. The reason why you're not experiencing the ease and the things that you want is because belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. And the way you behave is a reflection of your true beliefs, whether you realize it or not. That's why you can't leave that man alone that keep doing you crazy and doing you wrong. Hold on, y'all, gotta plug this up because I don't want my iPad to die. The reason why he's able to do that to you and play with you like that, because you don't believe that you can have better. You know, let me tell you something about women who stay in relationships and complain about the man that they are with. Because what you ain't complaining, what you ain't changing, you like it. The reality of the situation is this. When you would sit in a scenario with somebody for years and you would continue to complain about the behaviors or the things that they are not doing, the reason why you will not leave is because you do not believe you could do better. You do not value yourself enough to remove yourself from an experience that devalues you. That's the truth. There's no, like, you can try to convince yourself of anything else. You can say it's for the children. See, you can say it's for your children. You can say, oh, because we've been together this many years. You could say, oh, it's because he's sick. You could say, oh, because I don't want to leave this person destitute because I won't want nobody else to do that. Let me tell you something. Lies, 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 and more lies. You done stop talking to people for less. Some of y'all will have a birthday dinner and don't let one of your so-called friends, let your friend not show up and something happen. You're going to cut her off, but you will continue to keep this person in your life who is dog walking you. Do you understand? And it all roots back to what? Your perception of self. Because if you understand innate perceived value, beloved, then you wouldn't stay in scenarios that drained that value. So there would be no way for him to drain the life out of you. There would be no way for corporate to drain the life out of you, because you will recognize a parasite, whether it's a parasite in a person or a parasitic or a system that's parasitic. You have to understand that your life force consists of, and these are not the only things, but 5 sacred currencies that you have as a woman. And if you don't value them, nobody else is going to value them. Nobody's going to care. Crying at 9 to 5s about them caring about you, crying to countries that don't care about you, crying to leaders that don't care about you, that does not push you forward. That does not push you forward. You have to make some hard, real decisions. And it starts with the things that you believe. It starts with your perception of self. And when you start valuing yourself, you start moving different. For those who are just joining, I never introduced myself. My name is Elle Antoinette. I am a, oh goodness, I'm sorry, I have to close this thing because it was leaking. I'm a human system strategist, and the human species that I focus on is the female species. And so women come to work with me when they are prepared, and these are successful women, when they're prepared to build their internal infrastructure so that they can sustain their or amplify their external success. This looks like them making more money. This could look like them sustaining the marriage, themselves in a marriage while being mothers. Because nobody talks about these things. Nobody talks about the sacrifices. Nobody talks about the truth. This also looks like women who position themselves to get healthier. 3 results that women get when they come to work with me. Number 1, they make more money, they get healthier, they attract better community, and that includes having better relationships with the masculine. Okay? So it really, really makes a difference. Yes, only successful women. Success is a mindset, but also understanding if you are shifting or if you have a success mindset, that means that you have some form of results in your life to show success and what success looks like for you. So if you want to amplify that success or if you want to sustain that success, those women come to me because that requires internal infrastructure. If you are living in a way where you are not living according to spiritual law, you are already in violation. You already causing yourself harm because you don't know how to create your own reality. You're living by the reality or in the reality of other people that they've created for you because that's what you've simply accepted. Okay? So when you understand spiritual law, and for me, that's scripture. So when you understand spiritual law, you can create your own reality. The second thing that's going to be very important if you want to thrive is that you need to understand the science of yourself. You have two clocks. You have a sun clock, you have a moon clock. If you're not living by your sun clock and honoring your moon clock, then guess what? You're probably hormonally imbalanced. And when you're hormonally imbalanced, that means we're having cycle issues, we're having womb issues. And do you think it's a coincidence that they push this hustle mentality and how hard you should be working as a woman and this and that and yada, 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 yada. And do you really think it's a coincidence that women have womb issues? We are working against our biological design. Did you know that the women, when they got their cycles in scripture, those women were in solitude because they needed the time to not only physically release, but spiritually release, mentally release things that didn't belong for that month, emotionally release things that didn't belong? And why is that so important for them to release like that every single month? Why is that so important for them to go through that process of rebirth and death? It is because so they can receive. Because when it talks about in scripture how women are favored and how wives are favored, this is a woman who is completely in tune with who she is. She understands the gifts. She understands those gifts make room for her. She understands spiritual life. She can create her own reality. She understands how this works. So you have to understand the science of yourself as a woman if you want to understand men. A reason why a lot of you don't understand men or don't understand masculine men, though you say you crave them and you want them so much, is because you don't understand the science of your feminine self. So if you don't understand how you operate, you'll confuse, or you'll have a very skewed idea of men. And you'll listen to people in society who tell you that, oh, men should act like this and men should be like this. Be very careful with that. Be very, very careful with that. You have to know yourself. These things are extremely important and very, very vital. Hold that question for me because I don't quite understand it and I need to get through this live. The third thing that's going to be very important for women is to study their generational lineage. And I'm talking about the women specifically. I need you to look at your mama, look at your grandma, look at your auntie, take them judgmental glasses off. I know you went to therapy. I know you're the first one in your family to go get some money. I know you're the first one in your family to graduate and do all these great things. But girl, you are not better than the people that came before you. And even though I know you think, thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments, even though I know you think that you are here to break the curse of generational wealth, of not having generational wealth, the true curse you are here to break is probably the curse of low self-esteem. Because it is the curse of low self-esteem that even with all of that money, you keep choosing men that drain the life out of you. You keep aligning yourself with friends because you don't want to leave them behind even though they draining you, and because you're focused on low level friendships, you have no access to powerful allies. Let me put you on game and tell you something. I was having a conversation with my baby sister yesterday. My baby sister's in her 20s. And we were talking and, we were just talking about friendship and different things like that. And I explained to her, I said, let me explain something to you. And I want you to grasp this young because I didn't grasp it young, but I know it now. And I lean completely into it now. As you begin to age, and I'm going to give this to any woman that isn't in the age bracket of 25 to 28 or even 25 to 29, and you're looking at your life and you're like, you know what, I'm looking at my friends and I'm like, I don't know, like things are shifting. That frontal lobe coming in. So you're looking at everybody around you like, I don't know if I want to go into 30 like this, or I don't know if I want to go into 40 like this. You can be in late 30s. Don't focus on meeting new friends. Say your sister is lucky to have someone as wise as you during her 20s. Girl, that's my baby. Girl, that's my baby. That's my siblings on my heart. Babe, that's my baby. What was I saying? See, I lost my train. I get caught up when I'm talking about my siblings. Girl, I get emotional. What's the last thing I said, y'all? I'm sorry. Oh, I got it. Okay, so when you are in that stage and you're looking at your life and you know that you need something, you need to elevate. Or your friend aspect and all these, I need to get new friends. I need to do this. I need to do that. I challenge you to not focus on getting new friends. I challenge you to focus on building a Rolodex of powerful allies. Okay? So, what you have to understand in this space, okay, is that I don't think I understand what you're saying. I was trying to read that. What you have to understand about powerful allies is this. When you have an ally and there's allyship, that means that that person can make a call, person can make a move, that person has resources to be able to put you in a better position. But you yourself have to also be a powerful ally. Some of you are out here looking for more friends and new friends and different things like that. And because you're looking at your friends like, oh my God, they're not growing, they're not this, they're not that, yada, 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 right? Those things are not happening for you. So you're focused on, how you can get more people in your space. Stop focusing on that. Focus on allyship. And allyship means that there is some element of power there. What you're going to need, this is why I've been telling y'all since January that you need to build community, okay? Because in that community, you're going to need allies. I have a very nice Rolodex of powerful allies. There are people that I am in contact with that are extremely powerful and you would never know. But I know how to lean into those allies, and they know how to lean into me when it's time, because we all have different elements of power. But in order for you to be an ally, you have to truly know yourself, and you have to be in a mindset of self-mastery. If you're not, you will not have an ally. You will continue to be searching for friends. So as you are on your journey, and I don't know who this is for and why I ended up bringing this up with this convo I was having with my sister, but as you are on your journey and you are growing and you are elevating and you are paying attention to the circle around you, it's time for you to start building allies. Stop focusing on friendships because it's something in your feelings. Deal with that. Okay? Because one thing for sure, two things for certain. If you are in position and if you are doing what you are supposed to be doing, your community, your tribe gonna always find you. Your tribe is always going to find you when you in position. If you hide something, y'all ever seen that movie, The Indian in the Cupboard? See, I'm old. I'm not old. I don't not say old, but I'm 41. So I'm a millennial. And the Indian in the cupboard, like they used to put stuff, the little boy, if I can remember properly, he used to put stuff in the cupboard and then it would be there. It would be there or whatever. They would put something in there and then you could open it up and it would be there like after some time. I think I got that right because I haven't seen it in a really long time. But I want you to think about that. When you put something in a certain place, it should be in that same place you left it if it's in the right position and if it has not been moved. That is how you have to be thinking about when it comes down to you receiving, being in position to receive, whether that's friendship, support. If you're not in position, you're not going to be there. You're not going to get the grant if you don't apply. With so many people, I don't know. Okay, well, get your limited beliefs out of here. You're already not going to get it because you're already thinking that you're not going to get it. Again, belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way that you behave. And I always bring up this one element where I say, if the richest person in the world gave you a contract for $5 million and told you to show up at the post office in Guam, I was born in Guam, at 4:30 the next morning, you don't even know if Guam has a post office. You don't even know if it's open at 4:30. You know it ain't open at no 4:30 a.m. That's what you know. But because you signed that contract, you have so much belief and faith in that contract with that rich person, also knowing that anybody can get out of a contract. All you need is an excellent lawyer who is willing to sit there and find the loophole. So you also know all this could be fake, but because you got so much belief in this paper that you signed, because society told you when you sign contracts, they're real and they're this and they're that and nobody can break it, you heading over there to Guam. You're not wasting any time. You're going to borrow the money. You're going to do whatever you need to do to make sure that you're where you need to be at 4:30 the next morning to get your $5 million check. So don't talk to me about procrastination. It's fake. Because if you believe, you're going to move. And that's in all things. Don't let nobody tell you No crap like, oh, I can see us doing this, or I believe we're going to go in this direction. If they believe y'all going in this direction, it's going to be some actions that's showing you that they going in that direction. And if they don't believe that for real, they're going to show you some actions that don't align with what they saying. And that's what you need to be paying attention to. We don't take things at face value. People say things all the time that they don't really believe. They don't. And this is why these things don't work out for them. So this lie where I'm talking about you lack strategy, you don't lack strategy, you lack belief that matches your true power. I'm going to tell you who this is for. This is for the woman who literally feels like she's done everything right. A lot of women that come to me were raised to be good girls based on traditional teachings, not true scripture. This is how a lot of women came into suffering for love, staying and hurrying up and marrying people that they don't need to marry because they don't know how to enact self-control, which is a fruit of the spirit. I want us to not talk so much about fornication and not talk equally about self-control and the practicality of self-control and the importance of self-control, how that's a vibrational state. It comes from the inside. It's not just about being able to lock that, because it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. Way bigger than that. Okay? Self-control is a state when you can control yourself in one aspect, you can control yourself in all aspects. Okay? These are the things that we have to pay attention to. So this is for the woman who's done everything right. She's been a good girl, but none of this is played off. She done got hurt. And one day we're going to talk about, because one girl made a TikTok about it. We need to talk about the pipeline from good church girl to single mother. We need to talk about that. We need to have that real conversation. We can't just talk about the burn and not really address the burn and how to transmute the energy of the burn if you're not about to create life into something progressive, because that's what it's for. But because you're not taught the science of yourself, you don't know anything about the follicular phase, the menstrual phase, the luteal phase, or the ovulation phase. For real, all you know is that when you ovulate, you won't pipe. You don't even know. And I just put a TikTok up about that yesterday. I'm sick of y'all get on this app talking about ovulation and talking about how much y'all crave pipe when you can position yourself to get paid during that time. But because you don't know yourself, you can't even activate that. So you go lay on your back for somebody who won't even like you like that. Like, these are the things we got to start really, really being real and really think about your conscious decisions right now. You want to mess around and let that fool become your baby daddy? Better yet, you want to bring a baby in this scenario? And what's going on? You're without money and community? That's wild. You be real careful about who gets access to your energy and to your womb space. Seriously. Self-control is a fruit of the spirit for a reason. And it just ain't on smacks. Okay? So this is for the woman, a good girl who's come out all this. She done bought all the courses. She done read all the books. She tracks her habits. But she still can't seem to collapse time in between her knowing a thing and actually receiving a thing so that she can implement a thing. See, that's the thing. A lot of us will read scripture, can quote scripture, but it's not tattooed on our heart, so we can't live it. And because you can't live it, you can't see the fruit in it. And that comes from it because you don't understand it. And a lot of that is by design too. Hi, Joseph. A lot of that is by design too, to keep you controlled. Let me tell you something. We live in a world of illusions, and the currency of illusion is control. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Never forget that. The currency of illusion is control. When a man is selling you a dream, thank you, my love, for these gifts. When he is selling you a dream, okay, he is selling you an illusion in order to control the scenario. High level sorcery. Don't get on here and be trying to make TikToks too talking about men are warlocks. Yeah, some of them are, but a lot of women are witches because y'all do the same thing but in a flip. So understand, when a person is selling you a dream, whether that's via media, whether that's via a person, whether that's via an experience, you need to understand that they are attempting to control either the outcome with you or control you in some form or fashion. Don't you ever forget that. especially going into 2026. I'm not playing. I'm really trying to tell y'all something so y'all cannot play yourself. I'm so serious. The Savage is already out, but this finna turn up. What you think gonna happen, man? Let me get to this. You don't need another tactic. You need a belief system rebuilt from the root. Okay? Let me tell you something that nobody really wants to admit these days. You need belief that's so powerful, that's powerful enough to match your own identity. But in order to do that, you have to know your identity. You have to know who you are. You have to know your power. You have to know that you have dominion. Because I'm going to tell you something. I was looking at this post this young lady had wrote, and she was talking about how, just like she doesn't blindly trust men, she doesn't blindly trust women either, because women are deceitful, women are this, women are that, which is what she was saying was true. So I shared the post and I said straight like this: women are hierarchical, women are emotionally manipulative. Okay. It was another one I said. I feel like I hold tight because I don't even want to lie to you. Y'all want to know? I'm gonna tell you the truth. You really want to know why? For women who are always like, "How could you sleep? How do women sleep with married men? Or how do women do this?" I'm gonna tell you exactly why, or how a woman can be in your face and turn around and be at your man. I'm gonna tell you right now. Women are hierarchical. Women are reflective. Women are subtly competitive. Women are energetically absorptive of other women. So this is and emotionally manipulators. This is how she can be in your face, smiling and plotting on you at the same time. Because at core, when it talks about in scripture how the heart is deceitful, yeah, that's how women operate. See, men exploit. That's what they do in their heart. But I ain't talking about men right now. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about us. We are manipulative at core. See, the only way you come above your manipulative state is to master yourself. And to master yourself requires you to understand your identity. And if you understand your identity, that means that you know that you have been created in the likeness of the Creator. You have the godlike character of the Creator. And you also have dominion, which is you have your own lane. And if you know you have your own lane, then why would you compete? If you knew you had your own lane, why would you compete? Women only compete for men too. There's no women out here talking about something. Yeah, let's compete, seeing who's gonna make the most money this month. Y'all compete over men. If you knew you had your own lane, why would you compete? If you knew that you could manipulate energy in a way where you did not have to deceive, then you would not try to manipulate other people. See, women are supposed to manipulate energy and men are supposed to exploit systems. But the problem is society has tricked you. And so women manipulate people and men exploit people. So basically, women manipulate men and women depending on what's going on. And men exploit women because they need women. May not necessarily need you as an individual, but they need somebody, which is why the wife could die and he laid up with somebody the same night, because they need feminine energy. When Adam was sitting there, he had everything in front of him, naming the animals, doing all of this stuff. And what did he still need? A woman. These are the things that you have to keep in the forefront of your mind. When you understand these things, you begin to understand your value. When you understand your value, your perception of self changes. When your perception of self changes, your perspective about yourself changes. When your perspective about yourself changes, your patterns with yourself changes. And when your patterns change, your relationship with yourself change. Your relationship with your food changes. Your relationship with the fellas change. Your relationship with finances change. Just like that. Real simple, real easy. But if you don't get to the root of it, if you don't really reprogram your beliefs, none of this is going to work for you. And I'm not talking about getting in the mirror saying affirmations. Because let me put y'all on game. Let me bust a bubble real quick. Truthfully, I don't care if you do affirmations. Do you understand what affirmations really are? Affirmations are secondary. Okay? It's a byproduct of confirming or confirmation. Confirmation is first. You have to know that you were created in the Most High's likeness in order for you to affirm that in the mirror. How you going to say something to yourself that you don't believe to be true? You have not confirmed it for yourself or accepted it is true. You think saying in the mirror going to make you feel that? That's why a lot of y'all affirmations don't work. Affirmations are secondary. It's confirmation first, then affirmation second. Nobody is going to tell you that you're beautiful until they see you first, and then they're going to say you're beautiful. Why did they say? Why did they give you that compliment? Why did they give you that affirmation that you're beautiful? Because it was confirmed with their eyes that you were beautiful. So if you have not confirmed it within yourself, if you have not visualized, if you have not done these things, then guess what? You're not going to be able to receive the affirmation. You're welcome. That's why y'all affirmations don't work. That's one reason why they don't work. I ain't going to tell you the other three. You have to come work with me to find out. But yeah, that's the main reason why it don't work. Because you lack belief. You got to understand belief is everything, beloved. But let's get into belief real quick. So again, like I said, you need belief that's powerful enough to match your identity, your own identity. But you have to know your identity first, which is a big issue with a lot of women as well. When you don't know your identity, because you live in a society that forces you to assimilate, then you're going to adopt an identity. This is how the girl in high school, who may have been the girl that wasn't necessarily popular, then for some reason something happened and she ended up hanging with the popular girls. And to hang and stick with the popular girls, like Mean Girls, right? They had to adopt a certain type of personality. When you go back to the movie Mean Girls, you had to adopt the personality of being a mean girl. When you go back and see before Mean Girls, I'm a millennial, so I'm going to take it back to Jawbreaker. For those of you, the real ones know. When you look at Jawbreaker and you look at the nerd who was in there, her name was Vern. Vern was able to become one of the popular girls, but Vern had to flip her whole identity and attitude when that wasn't even like Vern. The Heathers. Girl, don't do that because I love the Heathers. See, my people found me. Be in position, your people gonna find you right there, right there. So when you look at those scenarios and you look at that, you're forced to choose an identity that may not be your own. So choosing an identity that's not your own is like wearing a mask. And as we know, and we went through the pandemic, we know the longer you wear a mask, the harder it is for you to breathe, okay? So eventually that's going to smother you out because you're performing an identity, which is what a lot of women do across the board. There are CEOs who feel like they need to act like men or do this and do that in order for them to get power, when in reality, the true power is in being in your feminine. I love being in a room full of men and it's business time. It's my favorite. Do you understand? Do you understand? I am going to use my essence to activate their senses, and I guarantee you that they're going to be doing more work in the room than I'm going to be doing. And I ain't got to give my body, show my body, or even talk anything about Smex to do that. It's because I know and I understand the feminine and the power that the feminine has over the masculine. Honey, a man can be so-called a beta in my presence. I guarantee you when he interact with me, he gonna be alpha. He ain't got no choice. And it's not because I'm making him. It's simply because I'm using my essence. I'll give you one example. One. Numero uno. Okay? I remember, this is a long time ago. I was going out with this guy. And he was taking me somewhere. And here's the thing, ladies, that we have to be honest about, and you have to be honest with yourself. The dynamics of family have been different over the past 40 years. A lot of people didn't grow up with both parents in the home. A lot of people were not taught certain things. So there are quite a bit of men who don't know certain things. And they don't think of certain things until you activate those things within them, right? So he took me out and we were sitting in the car and he parked and he was like, "Are you ready to go in?" I was like, "Yeah." So I was sitting because I'm waiting for him to come and get the door. And he was like, "Was everything okay?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm just waiting on you to get the door." And so he laughed and he said, "You really want me to get the door?" Me. Of course. I was like, of course I do. And he was like, "Well," he said, "I'm going to do it, but what is your reason of why for you?" And I said, "Well, What I know is that when you invited me out, your entire intention, your primary intention was to make sure that I felt safe. And he was like, yes. And I said, and so I know that you want to get out and open my door because you're going to have to check and see what's on the outside of that door. It could be a small dog. It could be a snake. It could be a scorpion. It could be anything outside of the door. Now I'm nowhere near no scorpion, nowhere near no snake, nowhere near no nothing, okay? None of that. He looked at me, he smiled. He said, that's game, but I'm finna hurry up and get out this car though. And when I tell you, I only had to say that one time. I only had to say that one time. Run into the door before I slap. Okay? Y'all gotta know how to do. Y'all gotta know how to do. Like, where y'all charm at? See, sex appeal and sex ain't the same thing. You understand? Where your charm at? You have a natural, like, these folks, I'm telling you, baby, don't put me in a room when it comes out of business. Oh, I'm gonna sit back and be looking cute. If other women don't know how to maneuver their charm, they're gonna be mad at me. You're not meant to exhaust yourself to oblivion. You're meant to utilize resources. You understand? To manipulate, by definition. In fact, I think I'm gonna pull this up real quick because I want you to understand it, because we only have the perception of manipulation from a negative perspective. And I want you to understand what it is to actually manipulate by definition, okay? By definition, this is what it says. There are two definitions when it comes down to manipulation, okay? The first definition is to handle or control a tool, a mechanism, typically in a skillful manner. You see how I skillfully got that man to open the door for me? You see how I did that real smooth without saying, you don't open the door for me. Why you open the door? You see, I didn't have to do any of that. You see, I could sit back and I could smile. Just like if someone were to say, hey, would you like to go have coffee? I could simply say, actually, I prefer adventures. I guarantee you they coming back with an adventure. Well, what type of adventures do you like? I love horseback riding. Baby, it's already booked and scheduled. What you mean? And if you can do that's manipulation, but it's not deceptive. I'm not deceiving you. Just because manipulation is involved, that does not mean you have to deceive somebody. Now, here's the second aspect of that. Manipulation, the second definition, is to control or influence a person or a situation cleverly but unfairly and unscrupulously. Okay? That's the deceptive part. So you have to understand duality. There's another thing that I teach. You have to understand that even exploitation, when I say men are exploiters by nature, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the energy, it's the intent behind that. And I'm going to give you the definition of that real quick, what it means to exploit by definition. Hold on. Because I need you to understand the reason we say a lot of things with lacking the understanding, and that's extremely important. First definition of exploit: to make productive use, to utilize. If a man is with a woman and he exploits her in this type of energy, this is what they mean where a woman is back then she multiplies what he has. That's what that means. To make productive use of, to multiply. I'm sorry, what was that? Fruitful and multiply, right? That didn't always mean children. This is what it talks about when it says when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, he finds favor in the Lord. It's the favor, it's the multiplication, it's what's going to be produced. Okay? Now, let's talk about exploiting from the negative way, from the dark aspect. To make use of meanly or unfairly for one's own advantage. The people who are using, somebody asked me yesterday if, I forgot what it was, but it was like, why do the billionaires have all this money? Because they know how to use spiritual law. They know how to exploit negatively. They know how to exploit systems, but they do it from a dark aspect. You don't know how to make productive use of these systems. You try to run from these systems. That's why you don't file the taxes with your business. They use these very systems to pimp over your head. They do all this giving away of money because they can write it off on their taxes because they are exploiting systems. They're exploiting systems. The corporate system is another exploitation of that on the dark element. So these are the things that we have to really think about and consider when you're saying words. This when it says there's power of life and death in the tongue, and go watch that live that I talked about yesterday with that. What you say, what you write, all of those things are extremely important. Okay, so let's get into this space real quick because I can't be on here much longer, but let's get on this real quick. Okay, every result that you have or don't have is literally proof of what it is that you actually believe about yourself. I'm going to say it again. Every result that you have or don't have is literally proof, okay, of what you actually believe about yourself. If you believe that you're going to lose weight, guess what you're going to do? Them actions. Faith without works is dead. Belief is faith. So guess what? Them actions, them works going to line up with the fact that you believe you're going to lose weight as somebody who's to be 100 pounds heavier. But if you don't really believe that, then you're not going to put in the real work. You're not going to eat them boring meals. You're not going to meal prep. You're not going to do the things you need to do. You're not going to work out when your mood says you should sit at home because you don't really believe that you're going to do it. You don't really believe that you can achieve this. You have limited beliefs about yourself, and belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way that you behave. Okay? The brain does not respond to your desires. It responds to the truth of your expectations. You need to understand that your beliefs, your belief system is a contract that you are under with yourself. And you live in agreement. Hear what I say when I say this. You are living in agreement with whatever you tolerate, speak, and repeat. I'm going to say it again. Your belief system is a contract. Hey, my love. Okay? And you are living in agreement with whatever you tolerate, whatever you speak, and whatever you repeat. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. All right? Now, if we were to look at, how can I describe it? If we were to look at belief, the actual word, okay? The Greek word for that, according to Strong's, is pisteo. I may be saying it wrong, but it's Pisteu, and it's one of those O's with a mark on the top. And it basically is meaning like it goes further than mental agreement. What it means is to have faith in, to commit to, and to be fully influenced by. Okay? The origin word, according to Strong's, when it says believe, anytime you see believe in scripture, everything I teach is rooted in scripture and backed up by science. So anytime you see in regard to believe, okay, what it is saying is to have faith in, to commit to be influenced by. So when I go back and say, you don't believe you're going to lose weight, you don't have faith in, you ain't committed to, you ain't influenced by, okay? That comes from that word's to believe that I gave you spelled out. It actually comes from a word called pistis, which is Pistis, and that means faith, okay? Which is derived from another word, which is Peitho, which means to be influenced, okay? So when it comes down to this experience of belief and shifting your mindset and really elevating and doing all the stuff that people talk about, you know, changing your vibrational state and all that stuff, it's not a passive process, okay? This is possession. This is possession. Hold on one second, y'all. My sister is texting me on this iPad and I have to respond to her real quick. Okay. There we go. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. Thank you so much. So the process of your belief is not a passive process. When you really believe something and you believe something's going to happen, just like I said with that meeting over there in Guam at 4:30 in the morning to get that $5 million check, you believe it, so you acted on it. Y'all got to, we as a people, we have to stop lying. Stop saying you believe this going to happen for you. You don't really believe. You got to confirm the belief. You got to reprogram your mind or this ain't going to work. And I'm just telling you the truth. And the reason why it's so important, I'm stressing the mind right now and belief right now, is because they are going to be continuing to be coming with more stuff to corrupt and mess up your beliefs and to get you to put yourself under a spell. Believing the wrong thing puts you under a spell. Why do you think racism even really comes about? Do you really know how that comes? Let's talk about the pipeline for 2 seconds of how you could be friends with the white children in your class when you were elementary, and then there is a shift in the relationship as that child, as you both go into middle school. See, everybody cool with everybody being friends when you're really, really young and everything is fine and blah, 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 and everybody's small. But as we begin to transition from elementary school to middle school, why is that? Exactly. They are taught, because when they make that transition from elementary school into junior high school or middle school, they get a new set of rules. They get a new set of rules. There are things that are told to them that they take as truth, and they move according to that, not even knowing if it's true. See, belief impacts biology. It influences the way you behave. And I can tell you this from personal experience, because I when I got out of college, I worked in social services, social work, and nonprofit work. And nonprofit work, and I used to have a nonprofit. Nonprofit work is what taught me the most about this. When individuals would come to volunteer in neighborhoods that were primarily only Black, it was the hood, it was this and it was that, and they got to know these kids, their perception of the children and of us all of a sudden shifted, because they realized what they were taught was not fully truth. It's dangerous to believe a lie. Laws were created with lies. This is how you put people under curses. This is how we ended up in a scenario where, because I'm still trying to understand, and I grew up in the era when crack came out. I'm still trying to understand how a couple of rocks versus this powder over here has such a big difference when it comes down to sentencing. How are you trying to convince people that this one over here is better than this one? It's still all the same. But again, lies. It is very dangerous and very damaging to believe things that are not true. Belief is not a passive experience, and it's not a passive experience. Let me show you how. That's why they keep, when it's time for you to buy stuff, certain seasons and different stuff like that, they start putting all these commercials out there and putting them in your mind and having you believe this and having you think this and having you feel this, so you'll buy into whatever it is that they are selling. You have to start paying attention to these things. This is not a passive process. Making you believe something is not a passive process. These people got systems and algorithms on algorithms on algorithms to make you believe it's a coincidence. The fact that you just got through talking about a black dress and now you got 50 million black dresses popping up on TikTok when you ain't even have TikTok open. These are the things that you have to start paying attention to. Belief in its sacred sense is not just thinking that something is true. It's allowing yourself to be influenced by the divine, by the creator, by the Most High God, and committing to life as if it's already done. This is your law of assumption right here. Walking through life as it's already done. I've told y'all, before I became a multi-six-figure business owner, I literally, before I had even hit my first six figures, I would write down as if I was already there. And I picked up my habits like I was already there. And before I knew it, I had passed it. I didn't even know when I hit it. I was already there. You have to position yourself for that, because it makes a difference. Whether it's self-generated, you got mental conviction, or if it's spirit in birth. Okay? This literally, to believe like this implies that you are entrusting your life. You are entrusting your actions. You are entrusting your outcomes to what you say you believe. Y'all be lying. Thank you, my love. Hi, lovey. Y'all be lying, say y'all believe God gonna do X, Y, Z. And then you go out here and try to do the solution on your own. Just be lying. And wonder why you attract liars. Because they feel comfortable sitting with you because y'all on the same vibrational state. Let's talk about how belief is a biological loop. Your nervous system scans for confirmation, not potential. So it will literally repeat the belief pattern that's already encoded. If you believe that all men are trash, guess what you're going to meet? Trash men. Guess what the ones you're going to entertain are going to be? Trash men. Trash, 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 trash. Life is going to be full of trash. Thank you, my love, for these gifts. If you don't believe it's safe to receive love, then you will sabotage every single experience or opportunity just to prove otherwise. I'm serious. If you don't believe that you're already chosen, you will chase for evidence to prove that you're worthy. Why would you do that? See, this is where people come in and they want more, they want a whole bunch of credit. They want you to see them. Let me give you the science of belief, okay? Neurons wire you to reflect the patterns that you see most often. Now I'm getting into the science of it, okay? The RAS filters, okay? The RAS filters database on your belief system. So if you believe that nothing works for you. Even if it's proof out there, you're still going to be like, nothing is working. I'm doing everything, but nothing is working. You're not confused. You're not confused at all. You're just committed to a belief that no longer serves your becoming. Here's the thing too, and I want you to think about it like this. Once you have $100,000 in your hand, let's just say, right? If you have $100,000 in your hand, if you were considering yourself to be struggling before, would you consider yourself to be struggling if you had $100,000 in your hand? Do me a favor and put a yes and a no in the comments. If you had $100,000 in your hand right now and your belief has been that you have been struggling, would you feel like you were still struggling if you had that $100,000 in your hand? Let me know, because I want to know. Because if you really would believe that, after having a nice amount of money put in your hand, then that wouldn't really make sense, would it? It wouldn't make sense for you to say you're struggling when you have $100,000 sitting in your hand. So the old idea and the old belief of you struggling can't carry into this new time frame or this new time loop, because you have $100,000 in your hand, unless you want to lose the $100,000 that's in your hand. Because if you keep saying that, you're going to lose what's in your hand. And you won't have that. You won't have anything. These are the things that you have to think about. You can't bring these mindsets and these ideas and these beliefs into this space. It just doesn't work that way. Fractured belief is the reason why a lot of your results feel very fragile too. Let me just tell you that. Because most women believe just enough to start, but not enough to stabilize. Not enough to keep going. They launch from faith, oh, God told me to do this, and then they land in fear. What you have to understand is that part of you believes that you are powerful. The other part of you believes that you'll be punished for it. Like I said, that's why a lot of women don't want to self-master, because they feel like they're not going to have friends. It's going to be lonely. Men are not going to be attracted to them. So they won't really do the inner work on themselves, because they're afraid that they're not going to have options. They're not going to have this. They're not going to have that. Whatever you say is going to be your reality. Like she said, there's power of life and death in the tongue, and I talked heavy about it yesterday. Go back and watch that video on YouTube. A lot of you say that you believe that you can handle wealth, but your body still flinches when you're asked to invest in yourself. If you're not ready to invest, and I'm not talking about if you don't have the actual capital right now in your account. Let's just say, for example, there's a $10,000 program you want to invest in, but you don't have the $10,000 to invest in the program currently. But if you had the $10,000, you would invest in the program. But that's the mindset. But if you have a mindset like $10,000, I'm not invested in that. If you won't invest $10,000 in the betterment of you, you're not ready to make money. You're not ready to have a six-figure business. I'm just tell you the honest truth. If you're not ready to run 5 figures and to pay into things, you're not ready for that. And you need to be really, really honest with yourself. And you can tell yourself you're going to be this, you're going to be that, and all these things. But if you're not willing to invest, you really can hang it up. Scared money don't make no money. And the easiest way to make money is for you to invest money. And your best investment is yourself. Okay? A lot of you will say that you're leaders, but your tongue still trembles when it's time to command a room, when it's time to say no. And it literally tells you in Matthew 12:37, if I'm not mistaken, by your words you're justified and by your words you're condemned. And we talked about that yesterday. So every caption, every journal entry, every text is an agreement. Yep. These are agreements that you are writing to yourself. You are either writing yourself into or out of power every single day. And I talked about this yesterday. Some of you are venting in your journals and you're reliving the experience all over, stuck in a time loop, all over, all over, all over. It's the proper way to process without holding up your progress. Okay? And it's not just showing in your business, the stuff that I'm talking about. This goes into your beliefs as well. This goes into your belief as well when it comes down to relationships. It's the reason why a lot of your relationships feel like tight ropes. You believe that you're worthy of devotion, but however, you attract men that you still need to convince that you need devotion and that you deserve devotion. Very much so I know my worth. If you have to tell a man you know your worth, you need to run. I'm going to say it again. The minute you feel like you need to fix your mouth and say to a man that I know my worth, before you even open your mouth, say that you need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave that man alone. Because if it's not evident to him that you have value and that you are valuable, okay, then you need to leave. Because somebody who values you, you can tell. You can tell that they understand that you know your worth. You don't have to convince somebody of that. If you don't run, you're about to be exploited. And like I said, exploitation on the dark end means to make use meanly or unfairly for one's own advantage. They gonna do all that for their own advantage because you don't understand your value. They don't see the value in you. And again, men are natural exploiters. Women are natural manipulators. So even if we want to go into the space of, okay, you're on a date with somebody and the person is not necessarily seeing your value, so you say. When a person doesn't see your value, your true value, that means that he doesn't see that he can exploit you in a good way, which means he can't make productive use of what he sees in front of him right now. So because he does not see where this can be productive for him, he is going to figure out how to do this for his own advantage. And this is what a man does when he is untamed. Once he realizes he can use you for his own advantage, 9 times out of 10, he's just going to lay with you and leave you alone. This is how you're able to tell the difference. You should be able to tell the difference. Okay? Nobody can play you without your permission, participation, or the fact that you simply are not paying attention. Demonic influence cannot enter without having an access point or permission. Okay? They just can't run up on you. They don't have the power to blind you and trick you so bad. That ain't how this go. Like I said, a lot of women also want emotional safety, but your body is trained to feel chemistry with chaos. A lot of women crave consistency, but somewhere really, really deep down, your belief system still confuses stillness with danger. So it's boring. So you're scared and you start self-sabotaging. And then you establish danger with love, like a thrill. You say you want steadiness and you want a stable man, but you steady chasing fireworks instead of sitting down in front of the fireplace. Okay? Here's the truth that you have to understand in that aspect too. What you believe about your worth becomes the filter for who gets access to you. Pay close attention. What you believe about your worth becomes the filter for who gets access to you. So if you're always giving losers access to you, you believe deep down somewhere that you as well are a loser, or you deserve to only deal with losers. Okay? And until that belief system is rewritten, because it has to be rewritten, you'll keep choosing the person who matches your wound and never your wisdom. Never your wisdom. Your belief system is an energetic bouncer. It either guards your greatness or gives VIP access to the very patterns you were born to break. Okay? You cannot keep saying things like, I believe, when your behavior is still bowing down to your fears. That's not the way this goes. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of a exercise, real short exercise, so you can kind of grasp what I'm saying. If you are having the current thought, or you consistently have the thought that I always mess up when it's time to execute, you need to shift that to, I am a woman of divine discipline. How do you shift that? You start to study what discipline actually looks like spiritually. And you allow the codes. And see, for me, everything I get from scripture, if you read the scripture and you understand and you begin to allow it to reveal itself to you, because the scripture is nothing but a book of codes. And once it becomes revealed to you, it gets tattooed on your heart and you know how to activate, you know how to move. You really are a woman of divine discipline. But the issue is that you don't understand. Discipline means training. You got to train yourself. See, this is why you got to always renew your mind daily. You got to train yourself. Society, if you're not training spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, society is training you. If you're not training spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, society is training you. They train you to eat fast food. They train you to eat stuff that's not even food. If you don't train you, you're being trained. The second thing, if you're having the current thought, okay, that people don't pay me because they can't afford it, then guess what? They ain't gonna never be able to afford you. And stop talking to people who can't relate. Because let me tell you something. I don't care what's going on. I guarantee you we always have money for what we really want. We always can find money for what it is that we really, really want. So this whole people don't pay me because they can't afford it, shift that. People pay me because I'm the answer to their assignment, period. People pay me because I'm the answer to their assignment, but you can't affirm that until you show up as that, until you confirm that. You can't show up as that until you confirm that, which means that requires you to know what your assignment is, it requires you to know what answer you provide. You understand? These are the things you're going to have to understand and really grasp. If you really want to make some real paper in your business, if you really want to grow it, you're going to have to be in alignment. You got to know you the solution. I know I am the solution to women who grew up and they were good girls. There were good girls. And good girls are often the forgotten girls. Good girls are often the girls who are the family managers. Good girls are the girls who go to school, the first one to break all these cycles and do all these things. They get the good job. They do this. They just become the pillar. But she's the forgotten one. She's forgotten at work. She's forgotten in business. She's forgotten in these relationships with these men. She's forgotten in her family. Though she's funding all of these things. Very much so Terry from Soul Food. Okay? I saw that you're a man, baby. Then don't listen. It's okay. Or listen. But you have to know that you are the answer. You are the solution. You have to move in that energy. That's the only way you're going to execute. That's the only way you're going to get expenses paid. Where revenue is coming in. Where you can pay your expenses. People pay me because I am the answer to their assignment. What are you the bridge to that people need to cross over to get done? Okay. Third thing, if you're having a thought process that says, I don't trust myself to finish, you have to shift into, I finish things because I'm grounded, not because I'm rushed. And that's going to hit a lot of y'all in the chest who used to do your papers at 11:59, like me back in the day. You know, paper due at 11:59. I done started at 11 o'clock. Okay. So the thing that we have to understand and we have to grasp is shifting and recalibrating of the language, recalibrating of the entire mindset. Okay? These are the things that we have to pay attention to. You're not late. Stop calling yourself a late bloomer. You're not late. Okay? You've just been living beneath your instruction set. And this is your moment to rewrite that. All right? Excuse me. Most of you are probably still here because you know that there are things, or you know that there are things that you need to change. But knowing is really not enough. Your belief system literally has to match your instructions, okay? So every single time that you delay taking action on what you know is yours, you strengthen the belief that you don't deserve this. The longer you stay in that relationship where you're being disrespected and dishonored, you are saying every single day, I don't deserve healthy relationships. I don't deserve, to be safe. I don't deserve peace. Peace is a spiritual fruit. How you gonna let these folks take that from you? That's what you can control. I don't deserve joy. These are the things that you're saying to yourself when you do this. Okay? So, and the longer you wait, know this, the longer you wait, the more that belief becomes your baseline. And if that becomes your baseline, then that is where your vibrational state sits, in a very low set. Okay? If you want to shift that, if you want to change that, I told y'all yesterday I brought back, and this is solely it by itself, I brought back how to reprogram your mind. Okay? This is what you're going to get in that. And there's a bonus with it. The bonus is happening on, what's today's date? The 6th. The bonus is happening on the 19th, which I'll talk about that in a second. But the first thing that you're going to get is you're going to get how to reprogram your mind. And this is a step-by-step class. After this, and if you do this, if you could just give me 30 days, give me 30 days and implement, take what I'm telling you in this class and give me 30 days, okay? And do everything that's in here. And I just want you to come back and tell me. Just tell me what happened. Because you ain't even, I already know something gonna happen. Because it happens every single time. This is the course that was locked in the alignment bundle for a very long time. And a lot of people got it because it's huge. It was a part of the bundle that made me my first 25K because it shifted people that much. But this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a step-by-step masterclass on how your current beliefs are biologically and psychologically programmed. You're going to find out how you were programmed. See, the reason why I tell you these things is because once you know, you can't deny it. Once you know, you can't deny it. And if you choose to go against it, you're proving you don't like yourself. You're proving that you don't fool with yourself like that. Okay? So you're going to get a step-by-step masterclass on how your current beliefs are biologically and psychologically programmed. You're going to find out why women stay in emotional and behavioral cycles that contradict their desires. So why your head is like you don't need him and your heart is like I need him, I'm going to help you break up with that. And I'm going to help y'all break up and get back together. Okay? You and the mind and the heart need to break up from arguing. Y'all arguing too much. I'm finna give you the game so y'all seamless. Synchronicity, okay? You're also going to get the exact daily protocols, audio and visual reprogramming that I use to realign belief with behavior. This is something that all these things I use and I've taught my clients, okay? The fourth thing that you're going to get in that is how words, thoughts, and vision loops are either crowning you or caging you, okay? This is not a mindset class. This is a neuro-scriptural override for your for your execution identity. This is going to support you in getting stuff done. I don't care if the government is saying this is about to come down. Oh my God, everybody run. You're going to be so rooted and so grounded in your faith. Like, I'm finna go do this tomorrow. I'm finna go do this right now. I'm finna go do this. That's how you have to be thinking. The goal of what society wants is for you to break down spiritually, mentally, emotionally, so you act out physically so they can make you a slave in prison. In these prisons that they are building, they're going to be computerized. Please don't, because here's the thing. When you starve a people out long enough and they don't feel like they have resources, they start acting out. I don't want that for you. I need you to keep your mind on what it needs to be on. Okay? Now, that course is $197. Here's the bonus that you're going to get. I told you I wasn't having any more masterclasses, and I'm not. But what's going to happen for the people who purchase this, or if you have purchased reprogram your mind in the past, you get the words become flesh class. And the words become flesh class is where I'm going to teach you this, because this is what you need to understand and know. The class is called Words Become Flesh. What you write, you welcome. It's the invisible contracts hiding in your journals, in your content, in your captions, and in your casual confessions. Here are the things that I'm going to cover in that class on, what is that? I say the 19th. Okay. It's a life-altering framework I'm going to put you on game for. Number one, you're going to learn writing as agreement. How to write, how writing is a spiritual act of consent, even when unconscious. The difference between writing for awareness and writing for agreement. What it means to document your dysfunction and unknowingly make it law. Scriptures that prove your words aren't just reflections, but they're contracts. Okay? Second thing that you're going to learn is this: the journal trap. How venting, scripting, or shadow work can bind you to past identities if not recalibrated. Oh, you thought you were just processing in that journal and you keep going over it and reading it over and over and over again? Do you understand that repetition is the language of the subconscious mind? Whatever you are repeating and influencing on your subconscious mind is going to become your reality? No? Okay, yeah, you need to be in class. You're also going to learn why women who process through writing often get stuck in emotional repetition loops. You're also going to find out the hidden trauma loop language you keep scripting and how it rewires your nervous system every time you write it down. You think I'm playing? Why you think it says write the vision down and make it plain? Some of y'all writing down nightmares. Some of you are writing down nightmares and you are wondering why you keep repeating the same type of cycle. Just trying to put you on game. Third thing that you're going to learn spiritual codes, social scripts, and the truth about sorcery and how society does and uses these things against you. You're going to learn the biblical origins of writing. I talked a little bit about this yesterday, how there was a fallen angel that taught human beings reading and writing because we weren't supposed to know that. We weren't supposed to know that because, and I'm going to give you a little bit of what I said yesterday, but you can go back and catch the video on it. Where is that part? Here we go, right here. The wicked rulers, the reason why it was against and you weren't supposed to do it, or not everyone was supposed to have that gift, is because wicked rulers began weaponizing writing by casting curses, enforcing contracts. Enforcing contracts. I want y'all to think about these insurance contracts. You click the link in the bio to, where it says how to reprogram. And once you purchase that, you're going to get an email with your course today and the how to reprogram. And then you're going to get your email later this week on the class that's coming on the 19th. But wicked rulers. Okay. It's coming today, my love. I'm good. That's what I just said. It's coming today. I got you. Because I got your thing yesterday. I remember your name. Wicked rulers begin weaponizing writing, casting curses, enforcing contracts. I want to stick with enforcing contracts for 1 second. I want you to think about the insurance industry for 2 seconds. Imagine, you're so welcome, my love. Imagine paying for insurance. Imagine having a health crisis. Imagine going in there and you have a surgery that you really need them to pay for. And imagine them showing you in the paperwork where you signed because you had a tooth pulled and you didn't tell them, and it's in their policy that you didn't tell them, that though this is a contract, it's null and void and they're not able to help you. Though you've been paying into this insurance for over 3 years. Now you actually have something to happen and you don't get access. So let's go back to this again. What did I say? Enforcing contracts. Let me say this one more time because I need to say the whole sentence. Wicked rulers. The reason why this divine gift was corrupted. See, reading and writing is a divine gift. Because this is why when you read your most amazing fantasy book or whatever it looks, your nonfiction book, you get lost. And this is for the readers. You get lost in the pages of what you're reading, almost as if you were sitting right there in the experience right there. That is how powerful writing is. That's why it tells you to write the vision down and make it plain. Wicked rulers begin corrupting this divine gift and weaponizing writing by casting curses, enforcing contracts, enslaving nations through ink and intention. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm telling you? Wicked rulers begin to weaponize writing by casting curses, enforcing contracts, enslaving nations through ink and intentions. And like I said yesterday, what they say they didn't want black people to know how to what? They didn't want our ancestors to know how to read or write. And see, I come from a bloodline. I know my history. I come from a bloodline where my super great great grandfather was sold by this man. He knew that my super great grandfather could read and write. And because he knew that my super great grandfather could read and write, he vowed to never sell him. He gave him some land. See, it is something serious about being able to read and write, because that means that you have power. This is why they flooded your schools with different things and all focused on solely STEM and took creative writing out. They took creative arts out. And the majority of our children can't do what? Read or write. Right back. See, if you really pay attention, history will repeat itself when you are not paying attention. These are the things that we have to really consider and think about. So when I'm talking about this class, and let me get back to this because I want to make sure I'm giving y'all everything that you're walking away with. You're going to find out the biblical origins of writing, how that power has been distorted, the connection between linguistic sorcery, because that's the thing. Writing laws based on lies is linguistic sorcery. Do you understand that? I'm going to teach you about the connection between linguistic sorcery, legal systems, and digital surveillance. See, I'm talking about the stuff that I can't talk about on here because they're going to ban me. And I need y'all to know. Okay? And this class is a bonus. This is a bonus class. So you're paying for these two classes. Okay? You're also going to know and learn why captions, content, and casual compliments online are spells that you cast in public. You're also going to learn how AI and predictive text are retraining your language and your life. Or you want to check in with chat for everything? Hold tight. The fourth thing that you're going to learn is how to use language recalibration to reprogram your subconscious mind and your spiritual authority. You're going to get daily script flips, what to say instead of when you write in text or journal. You're also going to understand the process of rescinding any of these written agreements that you may have written out that no longer reflect your divine design. Okay? And then you're also going to understand how writing from your consecrated future is so much more important than writing from your chaotic past. Okay, so that's what you're going to learn on the 19th. Yesterday, the live that I did spoke specifically about the words that you use and reprogramming your mind. So go check that out on YouTube. But then also the bonus that you're going to get is where we're going to be focusing on what you write. Okay, your words, what you write, and your womb are all connected to wealth. And I told y'all, if you've been with me for a while, wealth is broken down to me. Generational wealth is broken down into 5 categories. Number 1, yes, you have your financial resources. But number 2, we have emotional fulfillment. Okay. Number 3, we have time freedom. Number 4, we have healthy relationships. Number 5, we have growth and purpose. Okay. So we're pouring into all of these buckets generationally if you're really trying to hit the marks. If you're solely focused on getting an insurance policy to make sure they're good, if the curse of low self-esteem is still on them, they're gonna trick off that money you leave them. Because they don't have any framework, they don't have any skill sets, they don't understand the process of vetting for friendships or building a Rolodex of powerful allies, because they don't understand that. So they trick off all their money on their friends. And here they go. They did all this and now they don't have anything to show for it. And you spent your whole life paying into this insurance. You have to pour into those 5 buckets. It matters. Okay. What questions do you guys have for me? Drop those questions in the comments. The course is $197. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. The video that you're going to get today, or the course you're going to get today, is how to reprogram your mind. You're going to then have the bonus class, which is going to happen live, and that's happening on the 19th, which I'm really excited about. So at first I was like, I'm only going to do this and offer this today and tomorrow, yesterday and today, but I'm going to extend it out a little bit for a couple of more days. So click the link in the bio to be able to get your ticket. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. It is going to be extremely important because I'm telling you, your words, what you write, and your womb, they're connected to wealth. Why do you think is so many women out here with womb issues? Why do you think they don't want you to learn how to read or write? They don't want you to write. They stopped teaching the children cursive. They don't want you to sign. You understand? Then it's turned around and they're like, oh, we don't need you to sign. We're going into digital. No, you need to always know how to sign. I would be teaching my baby cursive regardless. Okay? They're attacking your words by saying different things and shifting your beliefs, your ability to be able to write, and your ability to be able to utilize your womb. Those things are connected to wealth. Pay attention to what is happening around you, okay? Because it's extremely important. Extremely important. So like I always say, belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave. And I need you to know that your mind is a vehicle. And if your mind is a vehicle, then your belief is the oil and your thoughts are the gas. So make sure that you are putting quality gas in your car. Make sure that you are using the best oil option out there, on the market. Because if you are not, then you are setting yourself up for a breakdown. And it just doesn't have to be, okay? Any questions before I get ready to get off here? Because I'm going to go, guys. And for those who get there today, like I said, y'all will get, I'm actually bringing my laptop with me when I go. So you'll get your emails within the next hour. Okay. The link is in the bio. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the link that's in my bio. Let me see if I can pull it up on here. And it should be the first thing that you see, which is how to reprogram your mind, if I'm not mistaken. It should be sitting right there at the top, but I'm about to double, triple check to make sure I'm not crazy because sometimes I'll be forgetting. Yep, sitting right at the top. Once you click the link in the bio, the first thing that comes up is how to reprogram your mind. If you are readers and you want powerful strategy and you want things that I don't talk about here, make sure that you sign up for my Substack. I have a light feminine Substack, which is underneath the how to reprogram your mind link. It's the red knowledge tree. If you become a paid subscriber, you get way more juice. And I'm going to start going live over there for my paid subscribers. So hold tight, guys. I got something really, I got a series for y'all. And the Black Sanctum is the dark feminine. So with the red knowledge tree, we're talking about sacred feminine writings or sacred writings on feminine power, emotional wealth, and divine economy, sacred currencies, and all those things. In the Black Sanctum, we're focusing on shadow, sensuality, and sovereignty. It's literally a private, how can I say it? A private chamber for women who crave depth, shadow, and sacred sensuality. That's going to be a spot for you to go over there. So make sure that you sign up. The shadow aspect, the dark feminine, is where I talk more about the masculine and our interaction with the masculine and all those things. I'm not teaching you how to get better with men. If that's the result that ends up happening, okay, whatever. I'm teaching you to understand the value of yourself. And understanding the value of yourself and standing in the value of yourself is what attracts better men. So, all right, y'all, I'm finna get out of here, but click the link in the bio to be able to get access to the course. Like I said, you guys are going to get the link today for how to reprogram your mind, and then you're also going to get that's not today though. You're going to get the link for the program. Okay? I mean, not program, for the bonus course. All right? All right. So I don't see any questions. I hope that y'all have an amazing day. Click the link in the bio to be able to go and subscribe to my YouTube as well. Go check out that video from yesterday. Because if you really was vibing with this, you need to catch the first one because you need to understand words and the depths of it, okay? Thank y'all so much for being here. I hope that y'all have an amazing, amazing, amazing Thursday. And peace, y'all.